All right, welcome everyone to the MMOs.com podcast. Episode 179 here, episode 2 of the new year of 2019. Altai here, joined by
Remo.
All right.
And before we started the stream here for YouTube, at least, we had a nice conversation about MMORPGs being dead or not. A conversation we've talked about quite a few times on the MMOs.com podcast, but something that keeps getting brought up, and I think something that deserves a bit more discussion, because I think a lot of people do believe MMORPGs are dying or are already dead, given just how little they take up almost like gaming news. You know, I think when we were growing up, Altai, World of Warcraft was like front page news, like how big the game was, because it was a new kind of game basically, and things have been MMORPGs have been off the mainstream news a lot. It just hasn't had the same zeitgeist the way it has, back in like 2005, 2006, 2004 era. However, I've been long making the argument that MMORPGs simply are not dead. It's just that the growth in MMORPGs has slowed significantly.
Okay,
What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are it's not dead, and it's kind of a meme thing to say, like dead game. It's like a people say that ever. People say like League is a dead game. People say like everything is a dead game. It's like a joke almost. But I will perhaps disagree with you on this point. I think they are dying. Okay, the signs of the oak. Remember the big oak tree that's dying still looks pretty impressive, right? So yes, the numbers are still there. Lots of people are still playing, RuneScape. Lots of people are still playing WoW, right? But I do sense rot deep inside that oak tree. Okay.
Interesting. Now, why do you? First of all, we should agree on something that when people say an MMORPGs are dead, what do they typically mean? I think there's a valid argument to be made that the growth of MMORPGs, or rather, the number of new AAA MMORPGs is definitely down. Obviously,
Yeah.
We've seen studios like EA. Star Wars: The Old Republic, $100 million to make, didn't do very. It didn't reach their expectations. We've had a lot of big budget MMORPGs just not hit the numbers they've been looking for. We have less AAA games. We have we have a lot of games closing down because we've had so many launches. However, I like to define MMORPG, whether the genre is dead or not, by how many people are actually playing MMORPG or how much money games are making in the genre. Either definition works for me, and I think both those numbers, since even the peak of World of Warcraft, when WoW peaked at like 12 million subscribers or whatever they had, right? Even since that day, numbers are up significantly.
For the genre as a whole, you're saying player
For
numbers.
the genre as a whole. And
Okay.
I want to bring up a few numbers to people I think.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No.
Right, so like we mentioned before, like EverQuest, I think peaked at like 125,000 subscribers, concurrent users rather, and that was based on press releases directly from Sony Online Entertainment. So we know those numbers definitively. I don't think WoW ever released directly how many concurrent players they ever had worldwide. We know, they peaked at like 12 million subs or something around there, and even the numbers are down half. We have to make up for that half, and I think we've done it quite a bit with newer games. And I'm looking at some like Blade and Soul, for example. There's an old article from 2013 on Engadget where Blade and Soul surpasses 1.8 million concurrent users in China. Obviously, Blade and Soul is not nearly as popular today as it was back in 2013, but in China they had 195 servers just for this one game.
Okay, here's the problem though. The minute you insert China into the equation, you have to look then all future numbers that we talk about have to be a percent of the whole player base. It cannot just be nominal numbers, because in the year like 2000, when we were playing Ultima Online, Chinese people literally did not have the internet. Okay, like
yes, obviously.
So the fact that there were a billion people our age in China with zero internet, and now they have it, that alone is going to make every genre of gaming look way bigger than it was previously, right?
So okay, sure.
We have to either keep it nominal
exclusively at the West.
We either keep it nominal and look at the West, or we keep it percentages and we can look at the whole world.
Wait, let's look at the West then. I mean, we have games like RuneScape that are, despite being they're from 2001. I think last couple weeks ago they released some stats saying they have over 1 million subscribers now, and they have the highest ever monthly active user count they've ever had in 18 years. I mean, the game is at over 130,000 concurrent users as well. RuneScape today is more popular than EverQuest ever was in its peak.
Yeah, RuneScape, I think, is the one great exception, actually. And it is going from strength to strength. It is bigger now than ever. By paying players, nominal players, and surprisingly for such an old game, they're not just on maintenance mode. They are actively developing both the old school RuneScape version and the current RuneScape 3 version. So they are, and they're on mobile now, cross-platform. I mean, RuneScape is the way to go, the model to follow. I wish Blizzard was as hands-on with WoW, the way RuneScape is with, or Jagex is with RuneScape.
And look at even if we look at just the Western market, right? And you look at the all we really have to do is make up for the loss in World of Warcraft to show that the genre is bigger now than ever before. And besides the continued growth of RuneScape, you have newer games, obviously, which aren't super new. Games like Final Fantasy 14, games like Elder Scrolls Online, games like Black Desert. In the West, people do play these games. And what's remarkable, too, is the growth of private servers as well. Somebody in chat was mentioning they're playing on a BDO private server with thousands of players online. You have all these other old MMORPGs as well that people are just still playing on private servers. And very often, private servers end up having bigger player base than like a lot of the official servers, too. And it actually blew my mind. I think it was last year. I saw a private server for Tales of Pirate, like this really old Chinese developed, I think, MMORPG. It's over 1,000 players online on one private server for this older game. And we have so many games like Tales of Pirate. Mu Online, despite its age, is still incredibly popular, like worldwide. It was always really popular in South America too. But like a lot of people grew up playing those old games, even in America, here in the West, and people are playing those on private servers today. We have countless new games that have diffused the player base over the years, and it's showing MapleStory private servers as well. And I think there are more people in the West playing MMORPGs than literally ever before.
All right, so with that in mind, can we both agree they're playing older games? So you mentioned several there.
Yes. Those older games are still part of the MMORPG genre. I mean, yes. I don't think you can't discount those. Okay. Of the newer games, we have ESO, Final Fantasy 14, and like Black Desert Online. Those are the three newer games in the West that people are actually playing. And Path of Exile, if you want to count that as an MMO, or Warframe, those are both more iffy. I would put those more in the MMO category, but there's definitely some overlap there.
Okay, I think just your admission that of your list of newer games, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of proves my point that the genre is getting long in the tooth. So let me step back here and explain what I mean. Mm-hmm. I like these metaphors, okay? So imagine a nice oak forest, okay? Nice big proud large oak trees that are still, they stopped growing perhaps, but they're still there, right? And that's what I would say is like, your WoW or your Tibia or something, right? Those games that are still big out there, but they're old, they're dated now, they're aged. They're not gonna explode. Now, some of them might. Some of them might find, the secret to life and double again from here, the way RuneScape has, right? So it is possible, okay? But I think for every one RuneScape, you have 10 games that are old, still big population, that are kind of just going with the flow, right? They're just going with the current player base.
But those old games that are going with the flow, right?
Yep.
There are so many of them.
Yes.
Which is mind-blowing compared to heyday.
But I'm not done with the metaphor here now. Now, you can look at the tree, it's still standing. So it looks just as healthy as last year or 10 years ago. But we got to look at the root system, okay? The root system is important here. The root system here, for me, is the games in development, the AAA. None of these big studios, right, are putting the fertilizer in to grow a new crop, right? So that's why I see it's dying, because there's not enough investment. There's not much interest in that fertile soil. The soil is not fertile, all right?
New games are still coming out, though.
They are, but what happens when they come out? Bless Online, tree fell down. Okay. What happened? Atlas, tree fell down, which is not an MMO, but
there's still a lot of people playing Atlas. All right, that game is still probably salvageable. All right, there's still something they can do there. I mean, Atlas is currently averaging like 20,000 players online, which is definitely not bad. All right, Altai.
Okay, back to MMORPGs. Mu Legends launched, MapleStory 2, a lot of excitement. But if you look at the Steam chart numbers, it is they're plummeting. And this seems to be now. I think we can both agree it's a trend that a lot of these newer launches, new games, have not met the numbers, have not met the excitement. They just
100%. No one's disagreeing there. But you're missing the fact that we're getting so many launches today versus 2005. Go back to 2005. How many MMORPGs were launching a year?
A lot.
There's more MMORPGs launching probably in 1 month in 2018 than there is back then. We have so many games coming out.
I disagree. I think there's more back then.
No way.
MMORPGs?
Yeah.
No, I disagree. I think there's more coming out back then than now.
That's impossible.
Why?
I'm counting all the Korean and Chinese games too.
Wait, those all came out in that era. That there was so many back then. I mean, area games used to have like 20 games alone, and they were coming out like a new game every month. Bada bing, bada boom.
That came out in like 2007, 2008. All right, they really started shooting the ship back then. But we have so many game launches today. Those games aren't dead. So many of those games aren't dead is the thing too. Launch are still going.
Let's do an experiment then. So many games. List me every MMORPG that came out in 2018. Go.
MapleStory 2.
Okay, 1.
Bless. There's only 2 big ones that come to mind.
Right, there's also Closers, right?
Yeah, Closer, Soul Worker probably.
Okay, Soul Workers. Now, one funny thing about this, all 4 of these games are actually not 2018 games. All 4 of those are actually 2015 games. Bless.
Yes.
MapleStory 2, Closers, Soul Worker are all from Asia from 2015.
Okay.
So actually, no games came out pretty much.
But hold on. The number of games coming out doesn't matter. I don't understand why that's even why we were discussing the number of games coming out. Because let's look at the number of people playing the games. Because these games don't disappear when they come out.
No,
They expand the genre.
Right.
Games like Moo Legend have like 400 players on Steam. It's not a lot, obviously. Some players off Steam as well. But some people do like the game. They keep playing that game. So the genre keeps getting bigger on a total player basis. Even with the game shutting down, more games are launching than shutting down. And there's more people playing. So. Even with small player bases, the numbers keep adding up. There are more. It's insane, actually, how many people are playing. Like even how much Path of Exile, Warframe, ESO. Look at the peak numbers of these players in the last month. Even they're still a very formidable number.
I'm not one to argue that it's dead, right? Because like you said,
it's not dead though. You can't even begin talking about something that's dead when the genre, I would say, is still growing.
I'm saying it's not dead. The trees are all alive. They're still sprouting leaves, right? I'm saying the rot has begun, and I see it at the roots. All right, you're looking at the treetop, and you're seeing green, lush, green leaves. You're saying it's growing, it's living.
You're saying maybe we'll see declines in the 3-4 years from now, 5 years.
Based on the current state of the fertile soil. The soil is not fertile. The soil is barren, and therefore we are going to see rot in the future.
Maybe I could see this genre perhaps decreasing in 5-10 years. But then again, mobile could revitalize the thing as well. I mean, we've seen old school RuneScape said since launching on mobile, that's when they hit their peak concurrent users. Mobile has actually introduced new players to RuneScape that never played before. I mean, they wouldn't be hitting new concurrent player peak numbers without new players entering the game. So mobile expanded the genre for RuneScape quite a bit. So we could see mobile do a lot for MMORPGs in the West. Hopefully, we see better mobile MMORPGs than a lot of the current crops. Ragnarok M Eternal Love just launched this last week, though it's mostly an autoplay game. I'm hoping to see more traditional MMORPGs as well. But I don't think mobile could easily revitalize everything.
Mobile, yes, mobile. But as of now, I kind of group mobile in its own category. So it's a different forest. It's a different species of tree. It's not oak anymore. Okay, we're talking about aspen trees or something.
GDFI points out that there's a lot of games coming out in 2008, 2009. I agree that there were so many releases. And if you go to 2004, 2005, 2004 is when World of Warcraft launched. That wasn't like the area games revolution. That was not the free-to-play revolution when we started doing MMO. 2004 was when WoW launched for the time.
Yeah.
The only launches in 2004 before we had all those free-to-play Korean games was these big budget Western games.
No, I'm talking about the launches of those games in Korea. So okay, let me bring up the chart now. Okay. Okay. So first of all, before I move on to this, look at this red. It's a sea of red in MapleStory 2 here.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, so it just got demolished. But now let's bring up the chart here. Guys.
But hold on. You're saying demolished, right? But you're missing the point. Go back to the Steam chart.
Yeah, I'm here.
There are 2,500 people playing this game that weren't playing before. Some of these players were maybe playing Fortnite. Maybe they weren't playing MMORPGs at all. Maybe we'll start to introduce some players to the genre that never played the genre before.
Okay, maybe.
The point is each game.
Yes.
Unless it shuts down, has people playing it, and the overall numbers will increase because of it. And we'll get a lot more smaller games today than we did in 2004. In 2004, you had you had one giant game, World of Warcraft, and that was it. Everything else was a rounding error.
So if we're saying what we have to look forward to, our continuous stream of games that launch with some hype for a month, and then within 3 months are ghost towns.
They lose half.
Not half. Like 95%.
It's not 95.
No, look at this. 42,000 to 6,000, and average players are currently 3. It's gonna go down to
average player base. Sure. You look at the average player base, went from 20,000 to 3,000, which is obviously a sad decline. But we have
huge.
so many
That's
more
90%, right? Almost.
Yeah, because we everyone jumps to play the new game, they try it, and a lot of them quit and aren't interested in keep playing it. Everyone's going to try the game today. The friction between changing games and trying new games is a lot lower than ever before. There's no subscription. There's no box for these games. And the Nexon launcher as well has probably much bigger numbers.
Yes, it has bigger numbers, but I suspect the declines, the percentages are similar.
No, I bet you, though, the people that play on the Nexon launcher actually cared about MapleStory. The people that played on the Nexon launcher have much more retention than the Steam launcher, because if you had the Nexon launcher, you played it for MapleStory 1. And those players are less likely to just instantly quit the game the way Steam players were just willing to try the game for the first time. So I disagree. I think a lot more will play on it.
It'll be 80 instead of 90% decline. But I am curious, though, if anyone has a way of finding out the MS2 player base numbers, either as a total or from the Nexon launcher, let me know. Let us know. But okay, I want to go to this chart for a minute here. So, I think we've brought this up before, perhaps in a post game in the past. So here I have an orange section on top here, and I started at 1980. This is when Mud 1, the first text MMO, basically the predecessor to MMOs, came out, and these are all the games of note between 1980 and 1995, right? Not that much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of you might have heard of some of these games, but they were really, really primitive, like pixel-esque games. I remember Tonight's is one that gets some notice.
Some graphics, but it was still very much like Mud.
That's right. So now I have a second era here, the golden era. Okay, I call this the golden era. This is a 10-year period right here, where we went from 1996 Nexus, Kingdom of the Winds, Furcadia. I played Nexus. I didn't play Furcadia. In 1987, we got Ultima Online. We got Tibia, which is a game that's still around. Next year, 1998, we got Lineage. Lineage is still huge in Korea, on both PC and mobile. 1999, EverQuest, first 3D MMORPG. Phantasy Star Online, 2000. RuneScape, 2001. Dark Age of Camelot, Adventure all 2001. 2002, Final Fantasy 11, Ragnarok Online, still around. 2003, EverQuest, Lineage 2, MapleStory, Star Wars Galaxies. 2005, Guild Wars, Dungeon Fighter Online, still the #1 MMORPG in the world. Now, we are now currently in the third age here. Third age started in 2006, in my mind, and that is the decline age, right?
Hold on, I'm seeing a lot of giant successes here that will see success for years to come. Okay, look at this. Look at this post 2006 era. You have games like FF14, which I think have a long life period ahead of it. Well, 2013 is Realm Reborn, right? But you have games like ESO. You have games like Warframe, Path of Exile. These games, I could see Warframe and Path of Exile being popular for the next 10 years. Can't you? And both games are still increasing their player bases. So maybe there's less games in between 2006 and today that will be long, lasting, the way we had World of Warcraft back then, Lineage 1, Lineage 2, and all those other MapleStory 1, pre-2005. But some of these games are going to be monsters for years to come.
Yes, but
obviously a lot of these will flop too.
Yeah, but look at this the most of the existing big games, right? Whether it's WoW, Eve, RuneScape, Tibia, all came out in a very short period of time relative to the other two.
Yeah, I know.
So the period of innovation and the strongest trees grew in this 10-year period.
Innovation. I don't know about innovation. What innovation you say? We saw innovation up until World of Warcraft, and the moment World of Warcraft came out, innovation died.
Well, there's only 1 year after that anyway, in my little golden era. So Guild Wars was the first to do charting in a way that I think a lot of those DFO style games did, where there's a hub world, right?
Yeah, but I mean, did Guild Wars come out before Dungeon Fighter Online even?
Same year. I'm not sure exactly what month of the year.
It was still a little different. Guild Wars, I think, popularized the concept of pay once, play forever. It's like a business model for MMORPGs.
Well, even more important than that, I think the whole hub world.
That
was huge in Guild Wars.
Okay, so I'm not trying to argue that about innovation. I want to purely look at if you have the player base for all existing MMORPGs today in the West. If you had a giant player list number, count all the players, including private servers, I would say the number is materially higher today than at any other point.
Yes,
but literally any other point.
But it's lumped towards the older games.
Yeah. Well, again, you still have big spikes from Warframe, Path of Exile, ESO, Final Fantasy 14.
Well, it depends how we start the definition in terms of for Path of Exile and Warframe. But even
Black
Desert Online, Path of Exile, Warframe, and Final Fantasy 14 are not new games. They're 2013. They're 6 years old now. 6 years old.
Sure.
Is that a new game? In 2004, right?
But why did it be new though?
Well, here's why. Because they will age out eventually. You can't keep it going forever. Nobody's playing Neverwinter Nights on AOL anymore, right? So these things will age out. I mean, that's inevitable.
But we still have new games coming out though. Again,
we don't. That's
2016.
A problem.
2016,
right? Yes, that was okay.
And it's got tens of thousands of players online. On Steam alone, it's got over 10,000.
True Savior flopped. Bless
Online
Online flopped.
Well, BDO's got massively successful private servers with thousands of players online as well. We've seen a lot of developers get pretty greedy with the cash shop, and pay to win has been a big issue. But that doesn't happen on private servers nearly as much. So private servers have been, I think, a big boon for a lot of these MMORPGs. It's mind blowing that you have a game like Tales of Pirate on a private server with over 1,000 concurrent players, 1,500 at peak on one of the servers I looked at. And this game is old. It was never you'll find Moo Online private servers with thousands of players online, and multiple of them. The numbers are insane. People are missing the total players. Yes, not that many new games came out that are super successful in the last 2-3 years. But those old games, I would say a lot of those old games are growing if you add the private server population to them.
Okay. Well, again. Well, why don't we go to a game that we know is dead? How about that, Omer? This conversation won't end. And guys, we can talk about this start again in the post game. The goal here is not to put every game that came out every year. It's just games that are indicative of that year, the big hallmarks of the year. So Rose Online, which is a game that came out during the big hype of bringing Korean games to America, right? It actually shut down this week, or they announced they were shutting down this week.
I'm actually so surprised this one shut down because the folks over at Warportal Gravity, they do a pretty interesting job of keeping their old MMORPGs running. This was one of the first ones we played, Altai.
Yeah.
One of the first we played. I remember playing this in freshman year of high school. Sad to see this one go.
And if you know the funny thing is, this game when it first launched here, it was actually a subscription game. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I played it on a free trial. I never actually ended up paying. But fortunately for Rose Online, it's going to be alive through private servers. There are a lot of private servers for this game. Just like Ragnarok Online, making a private server for Rose Online is super easy. That's why there's just so many of them. I'm kind of curious to see if a lot of these old private server websites used to tell you how many players were online on their homepage, but a lot of them don't do that anymore. But I'm curious how many people play on some of these servers.
Yeah, it would be interesting. So this game came out in 2005, right? Is that correct?
And yeah, it's an oldie.
Yeah, it is an oldie. So the name stood for Rush on 7 episodes, but they never actually finished the 7 planets, which were the episodes, I guess.
That's sad.
The developer went bankrupt. It was bought by Nexon.
Not Nexon, Gravity.
Gravity, excuse me. I don't know why I said Nexon there. But they never actually bothered finishing the worlds. I believe only 4 of the worlds was out. But there it is. And I'm actually surprised Warportal still is keeping some of their older games up. If you go to Warportal today, it's a pretty interesting site because so many of their PC games are just RO spin-offs. So you got Ragnarok Online 2, Ragnarok Online, RO Restart, which I guess is the vanilla server, Ragnarok Clicker, Ragnarok Journey, and then you actually have these their non-RO games. So you have Record of Lotus War, Dragon Saga, Requiem, and Rose Online, which is going to go away soon.
And I think Ragnarok Online is still their most popular and well-known franchise. I mean, the Ro M launched last week in the West, but somebody mentioned in the chat too. He's played on private servers for Ragnarok Online last year, with over 5,000 plus players online, which is incredible for such an old game. And we've played on Ragnarok private servers quite a bit as well. I mean, we played more private servers than official servers for that game, as have most players. But it's still remarkable to see how many people play on private servers for titles.
So are you surprised as me that these 3 games, for example, are still up on Warportal?
Why Requiem? I thought was actually more dead than Rose Online. Requiem, they built it as some horror MMORPG, but there's really not much horror about it. Just a little more bloody than other games. I don't know. It's weird to see it still running.
Yeah. So I suspect in the near future we're gonna see more shutdowns in games like these. These kind of games that are straggling by. Not every game can be RO, right? So for every one of these old games that has found success in a long player base, longevity, there's going to be 9 that are going to shut down. So we'll see in the years ahead who makes the cut and who doesn't.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Some of these games are obviously not every game is going to be able to survive in private servers. A lot will just die forever, and dead that way. Let's change gears a little bit. I know last week we talked a bit. About how to keep players online in games longer. And I know I talked about Final Fantasy XIV introducing Mahjong to the game. And actually, I had a chance to play Mahjong on Final Fantasy XIV for the first time last night. And it was interesting to say the least. It's very... Have you ever played Japanese Mahjong, Altai?
No, I have not.
Okay. So having... Because, you talked about why not play chess in the game, right? So look at this video, for example. These players walk up to a random board in the game in the gold saucer area, and you can play with up to other players in the game. 4 people can play Mahjong together. So it's cool that you can just sit down at a table and play with your buddies in game. But unfortunately, Mahjong is not a game Westerners are really familiar with. Very few, outside of Japan and Asia, people don't know what Mahjong is. I find it very odd that they added Mahjong instead of chess to the game, or instead of maybe even Texas Hold'em, or literally any card game or.
Why do you find that odd? It's literally a Japanese game.
Yes, but they have more player. But yeah, it's a Japanese game that has more players in Europe and in America than it has in. That's why I find it odd. And it's actually such a bad game to introduce to Westerners because I played with 4 friends, well, 3 friends and me, and we didn't finish the game. And the Mahjong game, it takes over 20 minutes to play, right? And the rules are pretty complicated. You have to at least read them like 30 minutes before you understand what the hell's going on. And obviously, nobody did the tutorial. We had no idea what was going on, and we didn't finish our game. Everyone just left. I'm curious to see, like, if from Square Enix's end, what percent of players start a Mahjong game and what percent actually end up finishing. I think the number is gonna be very low. Not that Mahjong is a bad game. Just Westerners are not familiar with it, so it was very weird for them to make that game. They could have made chess, they could have made checkers, they could have played Texas Hold'em or little anything. I mean, people that played Puzzle Pirates back in the day used to play just for like the Texas Hold'em game in Puzzle Pirates, if I remember correctly. So it's just weird to put this game over anything else.
I find it weird that you find this weird.
Westerners don't know it.
All the developers for this game are in Japan. Of course, they're gonna make something.
But they know how to play chess. They know how to play Texas Hold'em.
No, they don't. How do you know?
You can Google it. It's not hard.
But why wouldn't they make something that they are familiar with?
Because most of their player base, you can look at the active players in Japan versus Europe and America.
I don't think they care. I think the mindset of making something for the customer is like an American mindset. They're making something they like.
Yeah, but regardless, I do like the concept a lot because actually when you play, you can play ranked queues as well if you want. And when you play, you can actually sit down at a table and you can actually see other players while you're sitting down with your character. You can wave at them, you can emote at them, you can talk to them in party chat or regular chat. It feels like an interactive experience. You're actually sitting there on the table playing with them. It's almost like a board game simulator, but with an avatar. But with an avatar you care about because it's your character in the game. And I think MMORPGs are squandering. Like this is it's such a good opportunity for them to put other stuff like this into the game. And I love the concept. I just wish it wasn't Mahjong and it was literally anything else.
I hope that they find enough success with this that they do broaden it. So I can imagine chess, checkers, Go, another board game that's popular in Asia, Texas Hold'em, like you said. So I'm hoping this is just the start of a more broadened Ghost Saucer casual game thing.
And Brutal made a point too that maybe you want to see their culture shine through with the Mahjong in the game, which is, I mean, I have very limited experience. My friends that played the game, they're like, why the hell is this taking so long? Like, what the hell? Like, everyone I saw that played it amongst my friends, just like they went to it excited. They liked the concept of like playing board game, but they didn't like Mahjong, or they didn't want to learn Mahjong rather. So it kind of left a bit of a sour taste in people. I showed the game.
I think when they made this, they had the Japanese player base in mind, and the developers had themselves in mind. And whatever, it's theirs. You don't have to play if you don't like it.
But think about it this way: imagine if they added Texas Hold'em, it would be a runaway hit, an absolute runaway hit, and they can do it without even they could do it in such a simple way without like making players go broke gambling, without the gambling element of it, right? Because you can play for like an alternative currency. Because like in the Gold Saucer, you play for a currency called MGP. It's like separate from your regular currency. It's just used for like non-Texas Gold Saucer. So you can play with some other currency if you wanted to make it like non-gambling related. And it could be a lot of fun. People that play like Zynga Poker or Facebook Poker, those games are still incredibly popular. And you're just playing for fake money. And people love it. And if you could put that in an MMORPG, it would be amazing. I've played an Ultima Online private server that had Texas Hold'em, and I absolutely loved it. Like, I would log in just to play that. I could have played for free on PokerStars.com with free money, with fake money, or any other website for fake money. But no, I played in the MMORPG because it was more fun. It meant more to me. The world and the currency, it was more interesting to me to play in the game. I guarantee it would have been like a runaway success if they did it with Texas Hold'em in this game.
I suspect there's a lot more legal issues with making a Texas Hold'em one.
Hold on. Puzzle Pirates had Texas Hold'em.
Well, it was a long time ago, and it shut down.
Puzzle Pirates.
And it shut down. Coincidence?
No, but not because of that. People literally played Puzzle Pirates for Texas Hold'em. Tell me I'm wrong. People literally logged in and played it for that reason.
I never really got into
it. Which is remarkable. I mean, I'm confident people would actually just log in just for that. It'd be so much fun. It's mind-blowingly like amazing if they could put stuff like that in the game. And I'd like to see them do it in the future, hopefully. But because they're Japanese developer, because it's poker, because in their mind it might be gambling, it might cause issues. But I'm hoping they get around to doing it because they have a lottery in this game too. They have like scratch cards almost. So like the idea of a gambling mechanics in the game aren't like so foreign. So they could still find a way to put it in there.
I think we'll see Go and chess before we see poker, but we'll see.
I mean, Go makes sense too. Chess is, I imagine, a very simple one to introduce. But poker, please add poker. It'd be amazing. I'm so hyped for poker in there.
There's speaking of, let's stay with Final Fantasy for a minute here. There is a new Final Fantasy mobile trading card game coming out. Did you know about this?
Mobile trading card. I did not hear about this.
All right, let me pull it up for you. We don't have a lot of information. It's in closed beta in Japan. Final digital card game announced for PC and it's for PC as well. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
So it looks like it's some kind of there's a little board here. You're drawing these cards and playing.
Mhm.
We'll see. You need a Yahoo Japan account to sign up for the beta.
Interesting.
But the beta should start in a few days, which means we'll probably get some videos online soon.
Mhm. And stick with Final Fantasy for one more thing because it kind of fits with our last week's weekly raid about keeping players in the game longer. They added the Blue Mage to the game, which is pretty fascinating because it's not a traditional class in the game where you just you level to level 70 and do raids and stuff. Instead, it's capped at level 50, and it's got a very interesting progression. If you're familiar with the concept of Blue Mage from older Final Fantasy games or perhaps Final Fantasy 11, the way the class works is you have to actually find certain monsters in the game. So if you find if you find a certain enemy casting a spell like Water Cannon, for example, the enemy will cast like an ability, and if you tag that enemy, like a random monster in the world, a persistent open world, you fight it, it casts an ability, and if you witness the ability, so as long as he casts an ability in combat and then you kill it, you get that monster's ability. And that's the only way to gain abilities as a Blue Mage. You can't just unlock them by leveling up. You have to actually scour the world, find certain monsters that you can learn their abilities from, and kill them, and there's a chance for you to get it. So it encourages exploration of the world. And not only that, it encourages completing older content in the game because you have to find like some of the bosses in the game, some of the primals, or maybe at the end of a dungeon, there's a boss that casts one ability. You have to go through the dungeon, get to the boss, and then kill that boss and hope that your RNG kicks in and you learn that ability. So it has players scouring the world and exploring old content which they never would have done otherwise. And in principle, it's a really good idea, I think, because it kind of encourages players to do old content and it's fun and people are just running around the world doing it. And there's like 48 abilities in the game currently for Blue Mages, so that's 48 different enemies you got to find. So I had friends that were playing it. I didn't play it myself personally, but in 12 hours of nonstop play, they unlock like 30 of the abilities, 48. So there's still something to do. But unfortunately, it was really poorly designed in one way because you can level up very quickly. You start as level 1. There's a problem I think every MMORPG has. So when you become a Blue Mage, you're level 1. And what you do is you tag like all these level 50 enemies, and your friend who's max level one-shots all of them, who's level 70, and then you get the experience of killing level 50 enemies as a level 1, and you get level 50 in like 30 minutes.
So how long does it take? 30 minutes?
30 minutes to an hour for players to get the max level if they want to cheese it the way I just.
Wow. How long does it take to do it the normal way? Like just whatever.
Days, probably.
Days. So there's no reason not to do it.
Well, people are all going to. I mean, yeah. Everyone's cheesing it to do it. But that's how you get the max level. But to unlock all the abilities, all 48 or so abilities, again, 12 hours, my friends got like 31 of the 48 abilities playing 12 hours nonstop. So it's still a cool way to kind of explore old content. Unfortunately, I'll tell you another really poor design problem they did with the Blue Mage too is because I helped my friend actually unlock 2 abilities this morning before the podcast. So you have to kill Titan in extreme mode, the harder mode for Titan. Right? He's a level 50 boss. Unfortunately, you can. So the max level for a Blue Mage is level 50. Coincidence, right? So you do kill a level 50 boss on extreme mode while you're level 50. So it's like, whoa, you gotta kill a boss that's your level. It might actually be hard, right? But unfortunately, what you do is you have like 4 Blue Mages that want to like all get the ability. Or you can do it with 1 Blue Mage as well. And then you get your level 70 friend who queues in with you. So your friend is level 70, and everyone else all the other Blue Mages are level 50. And your friend kills the boss in 1 minute. And then you basically skipped all the challenge.
But I thought you couldn't group with
You can't queue. You can't enter a queue to do it. But if you make a pre-made party, you can enter all the content. So it's almost like they thought if you had to actually do the content at your level, it would be awesome because it would actually extend the content runway to keep players in the game for a very long time. But because you can play with level 70 friends, they can just one shot. They can kill the boss in 1 minute, and you just keep grinding them that way, which kind of I think defeats the purpose, or it just feels like a really weird design. But it's a really cool idea though.
Where's the question? Are they gonna fix that leveling bug? You think or no? Or like
no, that's a problem I think exists in every MMORPG. I mean, I know Athene for World of Warcraft like got the max level, like the fastest in the world by doing something similar. I mean, there's just weird ways to cheese speed gain in MMORPGs. It's kind of always been there. So you can do it in WoW, you can do it in Final Fantasy. They're not gonna be able to fix it, you know.
Gotcha.
That part is fine. It is weird that they really mess up the other progression curve, trying to get all the abilities. Even with the cheesing though, it still takes at least 24 hours or more of gameplay time to get all the abilities for the blue. It's a cool way to keep players in the game longer, which is nice.
Dedicated Duck. Leveling should be fast. It's not fun. I totally disagree with that. I mean, leveling in a game where they haven't really kept up the quality of the older content is not fun. I agree with that. But I think leveling is fun, and if it's done right. Like if the latest expansion for a game, let's say that raises the level cap, those playing through those level caps is fun in my opinion. Like the story is always good. The new areas are usually better quality than what I'm used to. So I think it can be done well.
Well, that's a key point, though. Ideally, it has to be fun, but like very few games manage to do that. For me, MapleStory 1 rather, is really good for leveling experience because I enjoy leveling and seeing all the job, my progression through all the classes with every job in the game. But I do think leveling Final Fantasy 14 is especially boring. But but the problem is the leveling is boring. I do think leveling fast is a problem, and I guess making you level fast kind of solves that problem in a really awkward way. But I would rather the leveling be slow and fun than just fast and get to other stuff quicker because like you have more investment in your character. Kind of like take it slow.
Take it slow.
Somebody says I don't like level caps at all. If there's a cap, quit once I reach it. I think a lot of people don't like level caps for that reason too. Which is why I really like the soft level cap in Black Desert Online. Once you reach it, it becomes like near impossible to like. You can still gain above it, but it just became so much grind. But it was still nice.
Oh, I got some good news. All right, we were talking earlier about not enough new MMORPGs coming out, but this just yesterday I believe we actually had an announcement that a new MMORPG is coming out in the West somewhere this year.
Let's hear it. What do we got?
We got Astellia.
Ooh, a new MMORPG, right, Altai? That's an Unreal Engine 3 powered game.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. So this game, Astellia, is in open beta currently in Korea. The open beta started in 2017. So, you could say it's 2017 or 2018, but it's still a relatively new game. The lag between Korea and the West is not going to be that big, right? Just probably maybe 6 months or so, depending on when this comes out. But unfortunately, like you said, Omer, it's an Unreal 3 powered MMORPG, which is amazing to me. Why are they making it on Unreal 3? I think it's too late to change that because it's already out in Korea. So we're gonna be stuck with that. But here's I'll play some.
They bill itself as a AAA MMORPG. I don't know if I believe that though, Altai. AAA.
AAA. That's what they call themselves. I don't know what that means these days, but here's some gameplay. Let me know some lovely characters in more, so it should be up your alley. The art looks good. I mean, it's probably not going to work well with like 100 people on the screen because of Unreal 3, but the art style, the graphic quality isn't terrible.
I mean, visually, this already looks like more stable than Blessed ever did in terms of just running around and casting your spells. It already feels a little more fluid, but obviously there's only 2 players on the screen, so it's not a good metric of what's going to actually end up looking like on everyone's. But I mean, the most important thing is it's got to run well. Like I feel like so many MMORPGs so many games fail to realize that's like the most important thing. If your game doesn't run well or like have a decent UI, it's so unapproachable. See the snake lady, I like it.
Yeah, so this game's actually in Korea at least. It's published by Nexon, right? And I think they intentionally on the homepage of the Western version didn't include Nexon's name anywhere. So this is not. I don't know yet exactly, but I don't think this is going to be on the Nexon launcher. There's no Nexon logo here.
Is Nexon publishing it? Who's bringing it to the West?
Well, apparently it's Barun on E&A. There you go.
Barunson. They're owned by another company.
Yeah,
these guys were bought out. I think they're owned by a Chinese company.
So they're bringing it here, not Nexon, which is interesting because I'm pretty sure Nexon is somewhat involved in its development or something. But they have a bad name here in the West. I remember I was reading a MMO news site that published this article, and half the comments were like, Nexon, pass. So I am interested to see how quickly they're going to come out with this because they said closed beta applications will be starting soon.
Ooh. I feel like other games. They own Studio 8, N2 Studio. I feel like other games they have. Online games. They do mobile as well. They got Astellia on their homepage, obviously. Their only online game listed on their official website is Astellia. Weird. They've got to have more. Name rings a bell. All I see on here. Probably mobile game.
I know at least one person in our Discord who plays this game and vouches for it that he's having fun with it in the Korean version. So I will try it. We will try it. It is a game that's coming out this year, so it's on the list. The one I guess interesting feature they have is you basically collect these cards, which are they're called Estelles. They're like little companions you like collect or tame or capture, and you can use them in combat. So you can see that
Nexon game. What was it? Did you collect all the
Riders of Icarus?
Riders of Icarus. I think I haven't seen any like MMORPG do a pet system well, or a collection system really well when it comes to like collecting companions and pets. Hopefully, maybe Astellia does that, but I don't know. I feel like that concept for MMORPGs has been pretty unexplored, or at least hasn't been done well yet. There's some room to innovate there.
Yeah, as someone mentioned, it kind of reminds me of a tarot animation. Remember, tarot is also Unreal.
Yes,
3.
when you're running around, it definitely looks like Terra. I got Terra vibes.
Yeah. Well, this we're gonna see when this comes out. I suspect second half of the year, not the first half, but we'll see.
They got something, so maybe first half. We got the announcement. Usually from announcement, some kind of open beta isn't too bad. You know, we knew this game was out already in Korea, but they said 2019 launch. I'm gonna say first half.
Open beta, first half.
Open beta, first half.
All right, I'm gonna write it down. It's a bet.
All right, put it down.
Put it down on the
says
paper.
first half.
Okay. All right. What do you got? What do you got? You get the next one.
Let's see. Well, Risk Your Life is back. We talked
Oh.
about older MMORPGs earlier. Remember, Altai? Risk Your Life, boys. If you remember this game, it was from 2004. Okay, I put the news up earlier that Risk Your Life is back. It's called Return of Warrior now. Originally launched back in 2004. It's actually one of the earlier action MMORPGs, though not quite actiony the way Blade and Soul or Terra are, where you can dodge attacks and block attacks. Though it still feels a bit actiony because you kind of swing at nothing if you want to. And you can't actually like run through other players, which makes PvP kind of interesting. So you can't just phase through other players. You can't run through mobs either. So there's actually collision in that regard, which makes PvP a little interesting. But they have their video you can see in the background. It's actually pretty hilarious, the video in the background, because it shows some really like wonky text. Traditional MMORPG is back. Return of Warrior. If you want fascinating action and speedy war, join us now. Altai, do you want speedy war? If so, join Return of Warrior. Speedy war is my favorite kind of war, guys. In, out, done. Speedy.
So we actually played this a bit in the pregame. For those of you who were here, you saw me playing it a bit. I am a little surprised they didn't launch on Steam, because you have to actually make an account on their own little service, which in today's world, especially for such an old game, I feel like it's just another hit against it. You know, they should have just launched on Steam.
They should have just launched on Steam. I agree. Yeah. Weird to download it on its own. But the combat is a little different. They call themselves a non-targeted MMORPG. So what was there's another game Turkish players love. It's in European.
Metin 2?
Metin 2, yes. Because Metin 2 wasn't strictly point and click either. It was like pseudo actiony to a degree. So this is kind of pseudo actiony as well. But this actually feels a little more actiony than Metin 2. If you like older MMORPGs, I'm actually gonna try this one out again. I actually like playing old. So I'm gonna do first.
Do you think it's gonna do well though? I don't.
No, of course not. But I think it'll have like maybe a couple hundred players online.
Couple hundred. Night Online is another Turkish love game.
Love Metin 2 and Night Online. I don't know why. They do. Metin 2 is still popular in Europe. Yeah, Cheatify, I believe it. I mean, last time I logged into that game was pretty packed. But yeah, old games, guys, they're still alive. They're still kicking. This game, you know what's crazy too? This game has like 16 classes. How many MMORPGs today have 16 playable classes? Now, balance might go out the window, but like it's kind of cool they have so many classes.
It is. Well, speaking of classes, there is a MMORPG that's kind of known for its class system. Look at that connection. Tree of Savior, which was a game we were all looking forward to when it was first announced way back when. They had a big update that came out today. It's live today. It's called the Rebuild update, and it totally revamps their class system. And we'll see if it has a big impact on the game, because they've kind of been struggling on. Let's see. If you go to Steam charts, let's see what they're at. Whoa! So they're up a huge number. So their average players is 1,300, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're currently over 4,000 today because of this update. So this might actually be worth trying. I might actually log back in.
It's a much needed change to the game. I mean, previously they kind of like they had a ton of like ways to build your character, but it turned out being like it was really weird because some subclasses were completely useless. Like if you became a level 3 knight, maybe that third point you went into like knight was utterly wasted later on. It was like completely useless. They're promising with the current system, nothing will be like completely useless later on. The way they changed, completely redesigned the way the class system works. And if it fixes that problem, which they claim it does, I haven't played it since. It'll be good for the game. I think the player base, the peak concurrent users is up double from its usual, figures. People are at least trying the game again, which is good. They added a new scout class as well, and I mean, I'm nostalgic for Ragnarok Online. That's probably one of the reasons I'm still playing Ragnarok M right now. So I'll give this game a try too.
Oh wow! So apparently, according to our RJG tab here, uh, it's only peaking at 5K because I guess more people can't get in because the servers are full. It'll be interesting to see how it does in the weeks ahead.
I mean, this game's made a lot of problems with like server capacity wise. I remember when this game first launched, it was completely unplayable because they had none enough servers to accommodate like everyone that was hyped for the game. So a lot of players quit from then too. And it's funny now they're having the same issue with just not having enough channels for all the people trying to get back into the game. This one is on Steam though, which is mega convenient. I mean, the fact that this is on Steam is gonna make me at least download and give it a try real quick. But when a game isn't on Steam though, I'm not always willing to give it another try. But I do like the convenience.
Yeah, indeed. Let me just bring up these little numbers for you guys to see here. Tree Savior, like I said here, so it's been peaking around. Average player count has been 1,300, with a peak of 1,800. So it's actually pretty consistent player base, small but consistent. And now we have over 4,000. So we'll see if we can hold these numbers. And if we go look back, when it launched back in 2016, it was peaking at 50K players with 24,000 online. And it's basically every month since then, it's kind of been red.
Yeah. But it just, a lot of the classes were useless. You couldn't respec. A lot of issues from before. Hopefully they'll address that with. And I'm rooting for it. I think the game looks beautiful. I mean, Tree of Saviors got some of the. I love that art style because again, I'm nostalgic for Ragnarok Online, and I love the music in the game. I mean, Tree of Savior music is some of the best, like MMO, like video game music I've heard in a long time. In fact, I'll still randomly put on we have the SoundCloud soundtrack on MMOs.com/music, and I'll put that in my background sometimes because it's actually so epic.
Indeed. All right, so that's one to try. Again, now a relatively old a game that's getting a little older. It's still relatively new. Tree of Savior, I think, came out 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to see it getting updates, and we'll see how it does in 2019.
What's remarkable too is like our concept of old has changed a lot. I remember like when we were like 18, like 3 years old, that's fucking old. Now when I think of a game that's like 5 years old, it's still pretty new, right?
Well, I mean, to me that shows stagnation right there.
Mm-hmm.
That things should be new every year, right? If they're not, it means that whatever sector you're talking about is just stagnant.
But again, good games, good MMORPGs especially, are built to last. RuneScape built to last. World of Warcraft generally built to last. Final Fantasy 14. You're not gonna get a new one. Why are they gonna make a new ESO game?
They don't make a new one.
Expansions.
But it should be. League is a good example of this. When League launched, do you remember what it looked like?
Awful. I know. Visual.
Right. So every couple of years, League has a total overhaul of its graphic system, right? Graphic style. So that's what an old game that's still, relevant and the developers care about it looks like. They go through consistent, continual refreshes, like major refreshes. This is true
games
of
do
Warframe.
That. It's usually pretty subtle though. They do
Not
that.
really.
They do graphic.
Some games do. Some games don't. Some games just sit there.
Black Desert Online add the HD.
Black
HD
Desert
model.
yes. Okay. Another game that's.
And that HD model came out like last year, so
yes.
It's only a few years old already. So that game already did a big refresh.
But there's a lot of games that don't do that.
I know, but good MMORPGs are built to last. Is the point. People are going to keep playing them for a long. I mean, also people don't want new graphics all the time. Like old school RuneScape is successful because they aren't fucking with the base, the foundation of the game. People don't want. They wanted better graphics. They play RuneScape 3. People are playing old school for a reason, and it's growing bigger. So I don't understand why. Like why? What does old school RuneScape have to do for you to feel like it got refreshed?
Well, old school RuneScape, by the way. Hold up, old school RuneScape still gets the same features,
updates,
like the mining stuff, and it still gets updated. So
tons of updates. Yeah, they had big updates.
A lot of games don't.
Week,
that was my point.
Yeah, but a lot of the older RPGs that are still popular today do get those updates. Just they're not going to get like visual rehauls. Like ESO may not get a graphical overhaul for a while, but they got another expansion in the pipeline actually right now. So good. And another reason why MMORPGs aren't dead. All right, they're built to last, and there's a ton of them that aren't going to get giant refreshes, but they're still around.
Yeah, that's a good question. I wonder how Star Wars: The Old Republic is how long it's gonna be there. I guess Disney could decide to pull the license at some point.
Yeah, I mean, they say they had an expansion in the works for the game, so it's not dead quite yet, but definitely doesn't. It doesn't get as much mind share as it used to, and I thought maybe the new Star Wars movies would help it, but not so much. I don't think people aren't really. I mean, obviously different timelines, right? But still Star Wars. Star Wars Republic might be on the chopping block eventually.
They shed on it by making it the same stupid route everyone does, where they make the content brain dead easy, where anyone can solo the dungeons.
Yeah.
It was actually a decent mechanics in that game before they shat on it.
That model though, where the content is brain dead easy, is taking over every MMO. People were talking in the chat earlier that you level up to max level so quickly nowadays too. And there's no challenge until you get to the late game and do like end game difficult content on purpose. I mean, I'm playing. I say playing very loosely. I'm playing Ragnarok M Eternal Love right now, like on my emulator. But guess what? I'm auto playing the game. It's literally grinding for me. I'm 38. I'm level 38. I get my job at level 40, but it literally just runs on its own, killing random enemies with no chance of me dying. It's remarkable. You kill enemies that are like 10 levels higher than you, Altai, in Ragnarok M. So when I was level 25, I was killing like level 30 monsters, level 35 dudes. They did 0 damage to me. My passive regen was more than a monster 10 levels higher than me. Is that insane?
It is. It is.
I'm not using abilities. I'm auto attacking to kill them, and it's crazy. But like people are playing this game. This game is packed. Unbelievably packed. There are people everywhere. I'm curious. I wish you could see how many concurrent players are online right now. But like, you look around, it's unbelievably busy, and everyone's auto playing, obviously, which is weird because like I don't know why I'm playing. Like I'm gonna get higher level, get more gear, so I can auto play more later on. At what point do I actually play the game?
Never.
It's just one path of auto playing that leads to another path of auto playing. Like there's only 2 instances where I actually took control of my character. Okay, once I like got a lot of loot, I sold it all. I went to the auction house in the game and I bought a better weapon from like another player with in-game Zenny. And then I equipped it and I went back to auto playing, and that's it. And no other point in that game did I actually have to think about doing anything.
Wow.
I mean, progress quests with better user interface. Penguin Power. It's interesting, but a lot of mobile MMORPGs I think do kind of fall into progress quest or cookie clicker style gameplay model now, where player input is like so minuscule. Maybe like later on, I'm sure when you do boss fights later on, you might not be able to autoplay it because you have to actually use your abilities. And the way autoplay works is it doesn't use your abilities. At least not that I haven't figured out, right? So my character doesn't use abilities unless I do it manually. And when you're fighting bosses later on, MVPs in the game, maybe then you have to kind of maybe in dungeons, but like for the most part, if you're fighting enemies that are 10 levels higher than you and they do nothing, I can't imagine it gets much harder besides boss fights. So boss fights are probably the only time you'll have to play the game, man.
All right. I got another big story for the week, Omer.
All right, let's hear.
So here's Activision and Bungie are splitting up. Bungie to take
Ooh.
Destiny over Destiny Publishing. So, as you guys might not be aware of this, Destiny, or I should say Bungie, had a 10-year agreement with Activision. And those 10 years are not up. And yet, they decided to put whatever arranging deal they made between the two of them. They both must have agreed to some way to part ways. And that means Destiny will now be published by Bungie. This is a problem for PC gamers because, as you guys know, on the Blizzard launcher, Destiny 2 is an option there. So we're not really sure yet what's going to happen with that. Is it
No,
gonna
it's going to stay on. They said that one will stay on the PC. It's going to stay on. They want to make it as seamless as possible. They've confirmed that it's not going to be removed from there. But obviously, this unshackles Destiny from any kind of oversight with Activision. So now they can do whatever they want. I think a lot of Destiny 2 fans, Destiny fans in general, are happy to see this because in their mind, a lot of what held Destiny 2 back was Blizzard's, or Activision's rather, publishing agreement, where they can kind of have some kind of say on how they monetize and do whatnot. So we'll see where that goes from there. But I don't know. I mean, the last few updates have been a lot better for Destiny 2. Like the first Destiny game, I think the first expansion of the game a lot of fun. People are saying that's been like that for Destiny 2 as well. I mean, we'll see where it goes from here, though.
And it's interesting because while the Bungie fans were happy, right? It seems like Activision shareholders were not, because we had a big drop the day this came out. So this is a chart of the stock here. And this is the day it got announced. This just sharp, sudden decline right there.
Yeah, that big decline is was about 10%. It lost about $4 billion in market value that day. So investors are viewing this news as a big negative for Activision Blizzard, for either not being able to make this franchise work or being able to lose the franchise to they no longer have the publishing rights over it, or some kind of whatever happened. It's been a big negative blowback for Blizzard. In fact, Activision Blizzard has been going downhill since BlizzCon. If you look at that chart, when BlizzCon,
Yep. So this is BlizzCon.
Look at BlizzCon, it's been going straight down, and it's crazy. They've lost like half their market value almost, which is like $30 billion have been lost, evaporated in investor wealth for since that moment with revealing the Diablo mobile game.
You have phones, don't you?
Yeah, phones, bro. But the thing is, I still think Diablo Mobile is going to make a lot of money. I do think a lot of their other franchises have been kind of stagnating. I mean, I think Blizzard's biggest problem is Overwatch is their newest franchise, but we really haven't had anything since. Blizzard, they don't release a lot of games. But the games they do release do well, and they have a long lifespan. They don't really release too many games, and they need another. I think Blizzard needs another big hit, and they're not making any mobile games directly themselves. They're partnering with NetEase to do that. So I think investors want more games, more big franchises. And Overwatch I think is stagnating now as well. I know Overwatch actually said their Overwatch League was profitable. I would bet anything that the Overwatch League will start losing money this year in 2019. And it was very front loaded. They made a lot of money selling licenses to the Overwatch League for like $10 million. And when you account for that, it was profitable. But I don't know, esports still has been very difficult to monetize. No one's been able to make a lot of. Valve is the only company in the world that has figured out how to make money off esports, and that's because of Dota 2's compendium. CS:GO is actually big in that world too. But League of Legends loses money on these, like a lot of money, and they have such big scale. There's no way in hell all the smaller guys are making money on.
Yeah, esports is a huge money pit. I've been saying it for years. I am not positive on esports. I think it's just it's a money pit for these developers and publishers, and I just don't see it lasting unless they want to keep losing money forever.
They're getting ahead of themselves. The problem. There's a lot of investor dollars chasing esports when it's not ready yet. I mean, the number of people watching esports is going up. The number of events are going up. Like the eyeballs are going up. It's interesting, but there's so much more money chasing it than possibly exists in opportunities to make money off it. That's the biggest problem. That's the reason esports doesn't. They got to take a slower, more game approach. What's crazy, guys, is Alliance of Valiant Arms is relaunching. Like the closed beta 2 for that begins like a week, January 19th. They're beginning closed beta. They're relaunching as AvA Dogtag. It's just old ass Korean lobby shooter, right? And they're launching with an esports strategy. AvA they're bragging about their esports strategy. They're gonna partner with ESL. They're gonna have some kind of leagues for AvA. There's no way on God's green earth anyone's gonna watch AvA esports. It's never gonna happen. And they're bragging about it. They put a front and center on their press release saying we partner with ESL. We're gonna push esports. Like they in the minds of a lot of developers, if we have esports, we're successful. But they don't realize you have to have a successful game, and then that leads to esports. You can't have esports lead to a successful game. And a lot of these Korean shooters are so boned because there's no reason to play them when there's so many. When CS:GO is free to play now too.
That's a big one. So I remember when we were like in high school and such, Counter-Strike cost money, and all these Korean shooters were free. But now there's no excuse not to play an actual good game like Counter-Strike.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what and honestly, I do believe a lot of people will claim, well, no, I prefer this to Counter-Strike. But they say that after they've played one, not the other, because one costs money. But if they all started playing Counter-Strike first, I don't think they'd prefer the free-to-play Duke version.
I know as someone who's played a ton of Combat Arms, a ton of AvA. I've played so many of these Korean shooters, and I like them, right? I've played countless ones that shut down in the past. And they're fun to meme in, but Counter-Strike Go is just a better game. I mean, they're both the same kind of lobby shooter. There's some more persistent elements in these games of acquiring weapons and progressing, but CS:GO just feels more responsive. CS has always felt more responsive than any of these Korean lobby shooters. And their biggest competitive advantage was they were free to play. And now that they're both free to play, they're totally. And the esports strategy is going to be a complete flop. I cannot imagine. I want to watch one of these esports events for AvA Dogtag. We'll see where this goes. All right.
Yeah.
Should be fun to watch. That's on January 18th, boys. We actually have keys on MMOs.com. Anyone's interested in playing AvA Dogtag? Yeah, we got a ton of those keys. I can't imagine too many people are interested for them.
How exciting!
But if you want to play AvA, closed beta, check that shit out, boys. Need to get Shroud on it. Yeah, Shroud should play some AvA. If you play in the whatever, I imagine the price pool would be like $100, like $500 at most. But hey, get your team together, get your friends together. Let's enter the ESL for AvA. The competition will be pretty light though, so you have a chance of winning.
You can walk away saying I'm an esports champion.
That's true.
Just don't mention what game you're in.
Yeah. Yeah, we should try that all the time. We should play AvA when they add their first esports. All right, we'll see if we can win. Yes, AvA. And the funny thing is, AvA is such like it shut down so many times. It was on EG at one point when it first launched in the West. It was on EG. Once EG shut down, they launched on Area Games. Area Games like, wait a minute, nobody plays this Duker game. They shut it down. And then Inmass like, wait a minute, we can take this game and make it even better. It was on Inmass launcher, and then they shut down because nobody played it. And now the developer itself is like, okay, our game is misunderstood. We're going to launch it ourselves. And they're launching it. There's no way this game's going to succeed. I actually had fun with this game, but no chance. Zero chance.
It amazes me that Nmass thought they could have a launcher.
Yeah, me too.
That's cute. And they still have it.
Yeah.
Nmass currently has 3 games. Only so they're
Closers?
Terra, Critica, and closers. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else to cover this week, Alpha? I think we got most of it. It's been a pretty quiet week this week, at least in terms of drama or anything.
Well, maybe we'll pose a question for you guys to think about, and then we'll see if we can cover more next week. Do you think, with the whole platform wars going on right now, so you have Epic Games trying to make their own store, Discord making their own store, right? Will we see a lot of MMORPGs moving from Steam to Epic, the Epic Store? If you're an Unreal Engine developed MMORPG, doesn't it make sense to be on the Epic Store?
Yes, and you're paying 12% fee versus 20% to 30%.
Yeah, 25 to 30 is a cut on Steam. So
I thought they said it was 20% if you're over 10 million.
Maybe it was 20. 25 or 20. I forgot.
Mhm.
But for example, Terra is on Steam, right?
Mhm.
But why couldn't it just be on the the Epic Store too? And they can keep a lot more of it there. So something to think about. I wonder if more games will move from Steam to Epic. And one example of a new game, Ubisoft has a game called The Division 2 coming out. It's kind of like a MMO shooter-esque style game. It was supposed to be on Steam, but now it's no longer on Steam at all. It's going to be on the Epic Games. So is this a trend we're going to see more of? I don't know.
I think for sure. I mean, they're leaving too much money on the table. We've already seen Division abandon Steam after putting out Division 2 already had splash pages on Steam, landing pages, store pages, where you can see the game, see everything about the game. But they took those down and they're launching on Epic just because the pricing disputes. And I think what's going to happen at the end though is the Steam's going to cut their prices to match Epic.
Oh yeah, you think so? Okay, we'll see. Yeah, time will tell. Yeah.
More and more games do that. They'll have no other choice.
I'm shocked that Atlas and stuff didn't launch on Epic. Because they are Unreal 4 engine games. And there's a whole mod support section on Epic Games, on Epic Launcher for Ark, Survival Evolved.
Steam's definitely looking down for Steam though. They have a lot more. They have some real competition.
So here's an article. Here's a question for next week, guys. Is Steam dead or dying?
There we go. I can say Steam. That one could. Yes.
So MMORPGs are not dead, but Steam's dead, guys. Even though it's still huge.
Still big, but the trend for that might be changing. We'll see.
All right. Well, something to think about for next week, guys.
All right.
And that's it for me. Anything else, Omer?
Yeah, that's all we got for now.
All right. Take it easy. See you next week.
All right. Take care for you too.